Hello. On this Saturday, I'm supposed to be doing all kinds of things except watching TV. But this is what I choose to do. So today was one of those days, as of lately, as I've talked about a lot. I get bombarded with memories. I don't even know why. Every time I go to sleep, I'm dreaming about stuff that happened years and years ago. But today was a little different for me because I had to take my daughter to DMV to get her license reinstated and driver's test and things of that nature. And it kind of bothered me a little bit because she had previously gone and gotten her license or her ID and had it sent to our old house because when I moved here, she didn't have her address on anything. So she had to have it sent to the other house. And it was confirmed today that, it was actually returned as the individual doesn't live there anymore. But the problem I had with that is her father still had possession of the property. And rather than being an adult in the situation, he opted to have it returned when he knew that that was kind of like she actually had contacted him and asked him to let her know when it came. She needed it for her job. That in itself bothers me for another reason. This young lady graduated with highest honors. And when she graduated, she asked him to take her and move-in day to college. And he said he would. Because with him, you have to put in a reservation because he may have service calls and things of that nature, other things to do. So as it got closer to her graduation, as it got closer to her move-in day, he came back with he wasn't able to do it during the time that she needed him because he had a wedding to go to or something to that effect. Now, how that bothers me is because most parents are rallying behind their children, the fact that they are academically inclined and they're trying to do something with themselves. Just another example of him always choosing other people over his own. So she actually had her friend's father who agreed to take her. And her father called the man on the phone and cried about you're taking my daughter and you're this and you're that. So then the friend said, I'm not going to take you because I don't want to get in the middle of y'all situation. So then at that point, she was down to her father not taking her. Her friend's father wasn't taking her. So I had to pile all her stuff into my car and take her to college on move-in day. And that kind of bothers me because I purposely took, when I had my kids, I know I was the only child, so I didn't have, the parents that raised me were older, so they didn't get a chance to really share in a lot of things that I did because they came from up through a different time and I don't know, they just didn't understand a lot of things. So when I had my kids, I wanted to make sure that they never felt like nobody cared about them. So I could only imagine how she feels to have achieved academic excellence and her father not even care enough to show up because he had to go to the cabin or he had to go to a wedding, a funeral, Walmart, somewhere. It's always something. There are very few pictures of him with the children because he was not there. He likes people to think that he wasn't there because of the military. Had nothing to do with the military. We was stationed in one place the whole time. So it had nothing to do with TDYs. It had nothing to do with the military. It had everything to do with another life that was being lived that we didn't know anything about. So when I sit and I think about all those things, it angers me. Yes, it does. And for anybody who stumbles across these videos and have a problem with me, I don't care. Because this is my life that's crashing me in my face every day. Because I have children who are a result of all the foolishness that went on inside the house. as I've gone through the house, I find letters and emails and things, letters, excuse me, from the children, how they felt about certain situations that was going on when they were little. As they've gotten older, especially the boys, I guess they are so happy to have him a part of their life or not doing service calls all of a sudden. So he's just the best thing since sliced bread. When we all grew up in the house where they had some type of feeling about him, or maybe they relate because they're men and they followed in his footsteps and the same results that he got, they got. The difference was that he had me in his corner, rallying for him, making sure he never fell, because I always anticipated falling before he fell and made sure he was okay. But my kids didn't have that privilege. So a lot of things that they went out and tried to do, like they had seen done at home, didn't quite work out for them like that because they didn't have the support behind them like he did. And again, that angers me because I should have been standing in support of my own self. So I said all that to say, ladies, especially ladies, you please, at all costs, no matter if you're married to someone, if you get into a relationship, always maintain your own independence. Granted, teamwork makes the dream work, but at the same time, have a fallback plan, because everything that I work for, somebody else is kind of benefiting from it at this point, and it's cool because I know who he is. And the disrespect that has even came even with that, I just know that God gonna work that part out, because you don't go and get somebody else's wife and flaunt it in front of everybody, make your actual wife that rode for you look like garbage, telling all types of lies, and she's out doing this and she's out doing that, and she ain't never coming home. Got the kids scared to death every time I leave out the building that I'm never going to come home, and I'm out doing what I have had one friend my whole entire life, and that's one friend that he has not been able to run away. And I still have that friend to the day. That friend has a wife. But this friend has been a friend to me as well as his wife and his children. And I appreciate them for it, because even when I crashed and burned, they still stood by me, and I appreciate them. But on a second hand, but the same conversation has been talked to everybody. This is a man who went out the very next day after we had a blow up in our house and was living with this woman and her husband. That's the very next day. So I'll talk about that when it hits my spirit and I feel like I want to address it. So it's just so many things that's crashing in my face that bothers me. So I go back to my point, ladies. When things don't seem right, investigate. Don't just sit back. I didn't investigate because it didn't really matter to me. Although he investigated or checked and followed and tracked to try to make me look as bad as he possibly could so it could make him look good. And so many people out there are just so stupid that they believe stuff, even though they know it don't sound right, or they go along with it because they're afraid, or that's their family member, and they think, how? No, not my nephew, not my son, not my brother, not my uncle, not my whatever. Oh, no, he's just, he's the wonderful person because he writes checks. But the thing about it is, this is a man who probably, if he couldn't write checks, ain't nobody going to be flocking around him at all. I promise you. Again, am I angry? Absolutely. All these years have passed, but guess what? It took a long time for me to get that way, and it ain't going to be better overnight. So ladies, always put yourself first. Take care of you. Granted, have other people in whoever's in your life, cool. Respect them. But at the same time, respect yourself. Honor yourself. Value yourself. Make sure you are okay. Because at the end of the day, just like me, he rode off into the sunset. He got somebody else's wife. She dumped her husband. They married, living the life that Raleigh sung about. Our kids are estranged. Nobody speaks to each other. It's just a mess. And it didn't have to be that way, because I was fortunate enough to have somebody who decided to play games on the back end and destroy all these things. So basically, we live in the results of all the BS that was happening throughout the years. This didn't happen overnight. I will talk about how I coped with the drinking and the taking the pills that the doctor was prescribing to me. I did everything I could to try to kill myself, but I kept waking up. And that angered me also. But guess what? Now that I am awake, I'm not on any drugs. I drink when I choose to. I don't have to cope with anything because I don't have nothing. I'm good. But as the stuff, the flashbacks come in my mind and I keep reliving them, I'm going to talk about them. And I'm going to talk about them until I feel, damn it, better. So anybody who, again, that runs across this, that got issues with it or whatever, again, I don't care. Because this is the stuff that's crashing and burning in my brain. And I'm going to talk until I feel better. I'm going to write about it if that's what I feel like I need to do. I'm going to videotape it until I feel like I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to do what makes me happy because I have been treated terribly. Everybody knows I have been treated terribly. And I'm tired of being treated terribly. So if these videos can help anybody else out there who's feeling terrible not to feel terrible and to prevent themselves from feeling terrible, then listen to me, sweetie. Because here I am at 53 years old, pissed off because I allowed things to happen, trying to be a mother, trying to be there for my kids. And that was a mistake because at the end of the day, they look at me badly because they said, we told you to leave after they asked me to stay. Then I left or I stayed. When I finally did leave, everybody's angry. When I stayed, they didn't want me to leave. And then I got told, well, I'm stupid because I listen to children and all this other stuff. It's a lot of things that I think about on a daily basis. And I am angry. So don't be angry like me. Don't do it. Think about yourself. Put yourself first. Because at the end of the day, guess who you're going to be standing? Like me, myself, and I. Have a wonderful day. Bye.